Okay folks, just a little bit of footage of the inside of one of the D500s. There's two things that identify it from a D510. Firstly, as you can see, there are three memory sockets there, and this machine is limited to SD RAM 133 MHz, and you can also see the race car legend there on the motherboard. Okay, so here we are on the desktop of the D500. I'm just going to go ahead and give a quick demonstration of DVD playback on this machine. Now this machine currently has a 1.6 GHz processor in it, and as you can see, whilst it is just about playing, it is maxing the CPU out. If you full screen it, for the large part it does basically carry on, but as soon as you get the merest hint of the machine trying to do anything else, you get dropped frames and it turns into a bit of a blurry mess if you wait long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and try and give this as much of a CPU upgrade as I can. It does kind of look like more or less anything will help here, so we'll go ahead and see what we get. Okay, so this is the BIOS updater. You want to run this before you attempt a CPU upgrade. From what I can tell online, this is the most recent BIOS available for the machine, so I'll go ahead and run this. After you've done that, you want to navigate to the folder where the self-extractor placed this program and run it. It's going to ask if I want to replace 2.06 with 3.04. Yes, I do. Hit restart. Success. Okay, we're inside the D500 now, going in for the actual CPU upgrade. I've got the case cover off, the drive tray tilted forwards and the power cable disconnected. Microprocessor is here in the front right corner underneath this heatsink, and the heatsink is retained by these two metal clips. To release the clips, you need to apply a little bit of downward pressure on the crossbar and then press this lever backwards, and that will unhook from the plastic bracket underneath. It's one of those things that's just a tad more awkward than it really should be. And then go ahead and withdraw the heatsink, complete with that little paper guide, and yeah, we've got quite a few dust bunnies here for going to need to be cleaned out. So what I'm going to do is take a baby wipe and some alcohol, clean this thermal paste off here and off the old CPU, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove the old processor here. Just take that little lever, move it slightly to the left or probably upwards from your perspective, fold it back and lift out the microprocessor. What we have here is a 1.6 GHz with a 400 MHz front side bus. It's an SL5 VH. What I'm going to attempt to replace it with is this one, which is an SL6 QB. I really don't know whether the system is going to be happy with this or not, but we're going to give it a try. It's about the most powerful thing I have on hand that will fit, and this is a 2.8 GHz on a 533 front side bus. And if I'm not mistaken, it also has, yes it does, it has twice the amount of L2 cache at 512 kilobytes. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in. If you can see there's one corner with the pins missing, that goes in the corner there where there are no sockets for the pins. So you can only put it in one way. Don't force it, it should just drop in like it did. Gentle pressure downwards, lower the lever and hook it under. And just give the CPU a little wipe to clean the inevitable grease off and just put on there. To give that a moment to evaporate. Okay, when you're happy that that has evaporated off, just apply a small blob of thermal compound to the center of the CPU and then go ahead and place the heatsink and air guide back on top. Try and do this in one motion to avoid smearing the thermal compound around too much. And there we go. That's the microprocessor installed. We'll be right back in a second and we'll see if the computer plays ball with it. And it's not happy. Okay, here's just a quick clip of it running with the CPU installed. As you can see, it's hovering sort of around just over 80% on CPU usage, and it's also completely eradicated the problem of any dropped frames or skipping of any sort. So despite the fact the computer claims it's not happy with it, it seems to actually be running fine. But nevertheless, I'm going to take this back out and try another CPU which I believe will be quote unquote officially supported. Okay, take two. This time we have an SL7EY, which is a 2.8 gigahertz, again with 512 cache, but with a 400 megahertz front side bus. Allegedly, this is the fastest officially supported CPU. And it's not happy. Seems to correctly identify it though. Oh well, on to take three. Okay, this is take 3. This time we have an SL5YS. This is a 2.2 gigahertz, 512 L2 cache, and again a 400 megahertz front side bus. And it's happy. There we go, just a little screen capture there to show that the BIOS does correctly identify the 2.2 gigahertz processor. Right. I guess random internet source number 3 was correct. One place said it would take the same processors of the D510, which seemed to be wrong. Another place said it would take anything you could find with a 400 megahertz front side bus. That seemed to be wrong. And place number 3 I read claimed the highest you could go was a 2.4 gigahertz 512 and a 400 front side bus. I couldn't actually get hold of one of those for sensible money, so I got the 2.2 because it was, you know, it was only a couple of pounds, and it should be enough of a boost over the 1.6. So I'll be right back with you when I've got some test footage set up. Okay, here we are with a little bit of test footage with the 2.2 gigahertz processor installed. And as you can see, it's hovering sort of mid to low 80s on the percentage of the CPU usage. And much like the 2.8, it has actually eradicated any dropped frames or stuttering. So it looks like the 2.2 is good enough, but I would have used the 2.4, or at least tried it, if I was able to get hold of one for sensible money. Okay, I just thought I'd show you the inside of the D510 briefly, just in case anyone's missing the magic sticker and wondering exactly which model they have. If you do have the sticker on, the code for the machine should start D510S. However, if that's missing, you can come inside and you can quickly tell the difference, as the D510 has only 2 memory slots and it accepts DDR memory. However, the D500 has 3 slots but only takes SD RAM. And most Compaqs of this era also have some kind of a legend on the motherboard. The D510 has this picture of the 2 palm trees on the motherboard there near the clock battery and the AGP slot. So that should help you to identify which version it is you're dealing with. I'll show you what we get here.
Hey there everyone, welcome back.
So this is DVD quality.
Start reinstalling the drive belt for the injection pump. So it's going to work.
And as you can see, the CPU is kind of, roughly speaking, hovering around the 50% mark. Now I'll just show you the result with the 720 file here. Now unfortunately it basically falls on its face. CPU's pegged at 100%, and although you get the audio going along there, you don't really get to see anything. Just open up the task manager there. So this is DVD.
Welcome back. What we're going to do in this part is to start reinstalling the drive belt.
Full screen that.
So it's going to work. The first thing you need to do is take that locking bar out of the way. Next thing you want
As
to
you
do
can see, the CPU usage there is hovering, you know, it's under 50% the whole time, so it does a very nice job of this.
screw if you're going to use one. This just needs to go in.
720.
Hey there everyone, welcome back. What we're going to do in this part is to...
Now, as you can see, that that pretty much pegs the CPU. However, the playback is smooth the whole way through this video, so the aim of this really was to get it to play DVDs comfortably, which I think it will be able to do. However, I did want to kind of, you know, push the boundary a little bit and see if I could get some HD playback out of it, which I have done, which I'm very pleased with. I think it would be fairly safe to say that the D500 should also be a capable media center for DVD quality, but you probably will not get any HD quality out of that at all, because that is limited to slower processors on a 400 megahertz front side bus. I'm going to do one other thing with this. I'm going to erase this machine now and put Linux Mint on it, and we're going to head out to YouTube and see what it does there. So far, I've got to say, I would describe the machine's performance as sluggish, to say the least. The internet connection here is actually a lot faster than this would suggest. Although at the least it does appear, you know, that the web pages are actually loading and displaying correctly, so yeah, this is it's pretty painfully slow to respond to what I'm selecting. Right, so let's see how this does. And that would appear to be a giant fail at 480 quality. We're back over on YouTube watching my timing belt video, and I've dropped the quality right down to 144p, and as you can see, the CPU there is still pegged, so Yeah, I think this is well and truly a non-starter. Okay, bonus footage here for you. Carried on just trying to watch a few more of my timing belt videos on this machine, and it didn't take very long before I started getting some kind of bizarre graphical effects going on here. So I'm not sure if this is a sort of a driver corruption issue, or if this is a sign that the video card in this machine is actually dead. What's in it at the moment is an NVIDIA Vanta, and I'm using a driver that was included with Windows, so I'm going to try and restart this machine now and see what happens. Okay, final clip for this video. I mean it this time. This is the computer back up and running with the replacement graphics card installed. It's a GeForce 4 MX with the latest available drivers from NVIDIA. Although in the task manager it claims that the CPU is now maxed, it actually plays completely smoothly. I'm not seeing any drop frames anywhere, so I really don't know why it's claiming that the usage is that high, but it's playing fine. I may revisit this, try a different graphics card with some different drivers to see what I can get, but I'm basically happy with the results I've got. I think the 510 is definitely a better choice, and because that has onboard graphics that seem to do the better job of any other option I've tried, and also that allows a CPU that's well, at least 600 megahertz faster. This may or may not support the 2.4. I haven't tried, I don't have one, so I don't think I can take this project any further.